France champions energy sobriety measures. 227 clinics in Sarawak will be upgraded, and PUM committed to supporting young entrepreneurs. Those are the headlines for tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Muhammad Yusuf, and this is TVS Nightline. We begin with our top story. The lights of all public buildings in Lille, a town located in the northern part of France, were turned off as the city adopts the energy sobriety measures. According to Audrey Liekenheld, the city's deputy to Lille mayor in charge of ecological transition, the adoption of such measures on September 5th has saved up to 170,000 kilowatt hours or 30,000 euros.
Alors nous avons souhaité rapidement annoncer des mesures de sobriété énergétique, et parmi celles qui étaient les plus faciles finalement à mettre en œuvre, parce que indolore pour les Lillois, même si symbolique pour nous, il y avait ces mises en lumière de bâtiments municipaux. Nous avons plusieurs bâtiments, près d'une dizaine, qui sont mis en lumière. Donc on parle plutôt de mise en lumière esthétique, des bâtiments à la fois du centre-ville et des quartiers, mais dont on sait.
Other measures implemented in the city, according to Audrey, include lowering the temperatures in most public buildings and pools and closing the city's tropical garden and fountains. The whole package represents a 7% cut in the city's energy use, which has reduced spending on energy by 1 million euros so far.
Je crois qu'ils comprendront les efforts que nous faisons. Nous avons essayé de limiter autant que faire se peut l'impact sur le service public que nous leur rendons. Donc je crois qu'au contraire, ils seront extrêmement compréhensifs et collaboratifs, puisque c'est aussi avec eux que ces mesures auront de l'effet.
Another city that has taken similar measures is Nantes, while Paris and Strasbourg are expected to follow in the coming weeks.
The 2022 Young Entrepreneur Program, or PUM, third series Sarawak level, encourages students to go into the field of business and entrepreneurship. Minister of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, Datuk Seri Alexander Nantalinggi, urged the younger generation in Sarawak to get involved with entrepreneurship and use the facilities that have been provided.
Di program ini pada tahun 2022, SSM ataupun Suruhanjaya Syarikat Malaysia telah merancangkan mengadakan sebanyak 6 sesi di seluruh negara dalam tahun ini. Program ini pada tahun dahulu pun telah dilaksana juga. Sebab program ini adalah sesuatu program daripada SSM yang kami anggap sebagai sangat baik dan memberi manfaat kepada penuntut-penuntut di IPT untuk memberi ruang dan peluang kepada mereka mencuburi diri dalam bidang perniagaan dan keusahawanan. Jadi ini adalah langkah-langkah yang boleh dikatakan sangat afirmatif bagi membantu golongan muda ini.
The entrepreneurship program is intended to give exposure to the participants in regards to business management, showing interest and entrepreneurship. The Sarawak level PUM involves more than 600 students from 5 institutions of higher education. Among the institutions were Matang Vocational College, Kuching Vocational College, Mas Gading Community College, Giatmara Satok Training Centre and Kuching Polytechnic Education Centre.
Selain daripada menjayakan program Usaha Muda 22 Negeri Sarawak ini, SSM juga mengagihkan wakalah zakat korporat SSM kepada 30 orang pelajar dan sumbangan tanggungjawab sosial korporat ataupun corporate social responsibility CSR SSM kepada 20 orang pelajar atau asnaf. Jadi agihan seluruh yang berjumlah RM25,000 disampaikan kepada para pelajar dari pusat pendidikan Politeknik Kuching dan Kolej Vocational Matang, Kolej Vocational Kuching, Kolej Komuniti Mas Gading dan Pusat Latihan Giatmara Satok, di mana setiap orang penerima menerima wang tunai sebanyak RM500.
He said this after officiating the 2022 Young Entrepreneur Program Sarawak Level on Saturday.
Now, 227 health clinics throughout Sarawak will be upgraded to increase the efficiency of healthcare services. This will also include the facilities available so that clinics can undertake more treatments than they were able to before the upgrade. Now, according to the Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunopeng, the matter was discussed during the 5th Special Council on Malaysia Agreement 1963 or MKMA 63 meeting.
Ini Yang Berhormat Menteri Kesihatan telah datang ke Sarawak dan Saudara Yang Berhormat Khairi akan meningkatkan lagi kemudahan-kemudahan kesihatan dan telah dibincangkan di dalam MA 63 hari dulu di mana kami telah berbincang bersama untuk menarifkan klinik yang sebanyak 227 klinik di seluruh Sarawak harus ditingkatkan infrastrukturnya.
Right, the federal and state government will work together to develop agriculture in Sri Aman as one of the country's rice production areas. The Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tunopeng, said the effort will be intensified once the area is opened up with the Batang Lupa 2 Bridge project for the agricultural sector. According to the Premier, the project will connect Sri Aman directly to Jalan Pesisir and then to Betong. He added further that the effort to develop modern agriculture in the area is in line with the Ministry of Modernization of Agriculture and Regional Development's new brand, which will be announced later for the food industry. He hopes that this would change the fate of the farmers for the better and not portray them as poor people by others, as the agricultural sector is very important for the nation. He said this when officiating the Sri Aman Brainstorming Festival 2022 at Sri Aman on Saturday. The Sarawak government will intensify its efforts to develop the youth's talents in various fields to ensure they are marketable in the future. Therefore, development programs are curated according to the capabilities of youths in Sarawak in hopes they would be able to master and create a niche market for themselves.
Kita ingin melihatkan pembangunan belia sama selari dengan hasrat Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak yang dipimpin oleh Yang Berhormat Datuk Petinggi Abang Jo, Premier kita, menangkan kita melihat pembangunan belia dengan lebih rancak lagi untuk negeri Sarawak. That's why we have youth entrepreneur set up program YES, dan juga kita ada Sarawak Youth Creative Innovative Fund untuk mereka yang dalam bidang kreatif dan sebagainya, persembahan seni untuk mereka dapat bantuan ataupun grant daripada kerajaan negeri.
Now, it is important to keep practicing the cultivation of arts, culture and tradition. According to the Kuching South City Council Mayor, Datuk Wee Hong Seng, it is something that should be learned by the community.
To keep them all in one, to continue the unity and harmony, we need to learn from each other on the culture, on the tradition. From there, then you will actually understand the overall, what we call the lifestyle, their history, their root even. So I think Sarawak in this segment have been doing very well. So we in actual fact, we start to educate even when they are at a very young age. That's why they invited those from the schools, primary school, secondary school. And that is a good sign forward. Because no point in keeping your own culture, no point in keeping your own tradition only known to yourself.
Wee Hong was speaking when he met with the media after officiating Creative Market in celebration of the Mooncake Festival in Kuching, Sarawak. He added that it also needs to be disclosed to the public so that the people can learn more about other races' arts, culture and their traditions. He further added that every celebration has their own meaning and history.
Hopefully next year, we can have more multi-races, to combine together so that even on celebrating our festive season, we can have a cultural exchange. The way, of course, we have achieved that Muslim or other races doing mooncakes. All right, so maybe on the other hand, they can use the other way on how the Malay do something that look like mooncake.
In the meantime, Green Adulan Kindergarten Principal Grace Wong said that this year's celebration is more festive than the year before.
And as you know, this event is actually initiated by a group of people from Sarawak Creative Arts and Culture associations, and you can see that we have stores and workshops, musical performances at the parks later. So you will find the richness of the Chinese culture through your participations in this event. So I do urge people to come and visit us here.
Various activities are held, such as workshops and also exhibition for the program held for 2 days from September 10th to 11th around MBKS and South Villa.
Moving on to our next story, a 24-year-old Indonesian woman was declared dead following a fire incident that took place at a workers' quarters of a wood factory in Kemena Industrial Area in Bintulu on Saturday. According to Bintulu's Fire and Rescue Department Bomba Chief Wan Kamarudin Wan Ahmad, the victim, known as Dilla, was found in the living room of the quarters after the fire was successfully extinguished. The fire was already under control by residents and factory workers prior to the Bomba's arrival at the scene at about 3:11 a.m. Bomba was then informed that there was one victim who was not able to escape the fire in time. 2 of her housemates were not at the quarters at the time of the incident as they were on their shift. Dilla's body has been handed over to the police for further action. A single-story terrace house was completely razed to the ground while a neighboring house was partially damaged following a fire at Taman Maliha, Petrojaya. According to the Fire and Rescue Department's statement, they received a distress call around 12:23 p.m. and teams from Petrojaya and Batu Lintang went to the scene.
The fire was successfully extinguished at 3:21 p.m. and no casualties were reported. The burned-down house was occupied by an elderly couple, while the neighboring house was owned by a young couple. The cause of the fire and the cause of the damages are still being investigated by the authorities. Bomba also responded to a separate fire incident around 11:42 p.m. on Friday night when smoke emerged from a political party service center at Lorong Liling. Batu Lintang firefighters were sent there only to discover a shorted electrical appliance in the service center caused the fire, and it did not involve structural damage to the building.
Coming up right after the break, Perikatan Nasional sets GE15 Manifesto Committee, and 5 people were found dead in New Zealand, possibly colliding with whales. Right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned. You're now watching TVS Nightline. Now, Perikatan Nasional PN will focus on political and economic stability of the country by setting up the 15th General Election Manifesto Committee. Secretary General of Perikatan Nasional, Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin, said the manifesto will be one for all races and inclusive.
Hamzah added that the committee will be chaired by Datuk Dr. Muhammad Radzi Muhammad Jidin and membered by representatives of PN component parties. On the likely event where the Malay vote split between Bersatu and UMNO in the upcoming election, Hamzah said that the people, including Labuan, are now accepting Bersatu, adding that many UMNO former members have joined the party. Hamzah, who is also Home Minister, added that the committee will ensure that the pledges in the manifesto can be achieved. He said this after officiating at Labuan Bersatu Sri Kandi and Armada annual meeting on Saturday. Bersatu was established 6 years ago and over 600,000 people have registered as party members.
UMNO Deputy President Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan advised that he has not made a decision on which parliamentary seat he will contest for in the upcoming 15th general election. Tok Mat said UMNO's priority at the moment is to strengthen and prepare all divisions first before deciding on the seat distribution and its candidates. He added that the matter will be discussed with BN's component parties in the near future after a meeting session with Sabah BN Party. He said this in a media conference after officiating the Safety and Health Mini Expo in conjunction with Malaysia Day celebrations on Saturday. Tok Mat commented further that as UMNO Deputy President, he has the right to contest any parliamentary seat and not necessarily in Rembau as announced before. Previously, the Rembau MP Khairi Jamaluddin was reported to not be defending his seat in the 15th general election to make way for Tok Mat, who intends to contest for the seat. Now, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob announced that the living allowances of local and overseas students sponsored by Majlis Amanah Rakyat or MARA will be increased. He said that the increase in the living allowance rate will be enjoyed by all MARA students from the diploma to the doctoral degree levels.
Bagi pelajar luar, allowance dinaikkan untuk setiap bulan sebanyak minimum 1,380 sehingga 7,600 bermula daripada peringkat pengajian ijazah sarjana muda sehingga peringkat doktor falsafah dan peringkat profesional. Kenaikan ESH kepada pelajar tajan MARA ini bakal melibatkan seramai 62,998 orang berkuat kuasa September 2022.
Ismail Sabri said that the living allowances have been adjusted accordingly based on the increase in costs and inflation for existing and new students studying in and outside the country. He further added that the living allowances are meant to cover the costs of accommodation, food, transportation, and daily needs. Currently, there are 4,149 students studying abroad, whereas 58,849 students are studying in local public universities under the MARA sponsorship. Ismail Sabri said this in his speech at the Aspirasi Kecermelangan Keluarga Malaysia program at Bangi, attended by nearly 3,000 students. After the event, Ismail Sabri also mentioned that he had instructed the Public Service Department or JPA to review the living allowances of students under its purview.
Daripada inspirasi, kami cetuskan inovasi.
Thank you for staying with us. Now, 5 people were found dead in New Zealand after a fishing charter boat had capsized. 6 other crews survived the ordeal, in which Kaikoura Mayor reported that the boat might have collided with a whale. Authorities did not, however, rule out the possibility.
5 people are now confirmed deceased. Police dive squad are in the process of recovering the deceased.
The information we have at the moment is that it appears to be a collision with what we don't know at this stage.
The cause of the collision is currently being investigated. However, a local restaurant owner believes that the likeliness of a whale collision is very high.
It's just got to be a freak of nature sort of thing. They're big animals. They're the biggest animals on the planet. So if they move the wrong way, anything could happen. Or it gets scared, or it breached, or anything. So there's so many scenarios.
Police stated that all victims are from New Zealand. The surviving boat crew have received treatment and were discharged as they suffered no major injuries.
King Charles III made a solemn yet moving speech in his first address since Queen Elizabeth II's passing on September 8th. His Majesty pledged to render his lifelong service to the people of the United Kingdom while upholding the constitutional principles at the heart of the nation.
And wherever you may live in the United Kingdom, or in the realms and territories across the world, and whatever may be your background or beliefs, I shall endeavour to serve you with loyalty, respect, and love, as I have throughout my life. My life will, of course, change as I take up my new responsibilities. It will no longer be possible for me to give so much of my time and energies to the charities and issues for which I care so deeply. But I know this important work will go on in the trusted hands of others.
Apart from that, King Charles has also bestowed the titles of Prince and Princess of Wales to his eldest son, Prince William, and daughter-in-law, Kate Middleton. These titles were held previously by His Majesty himself and the late Princess Diana.
Today, I am proud to create him Prince of Wales, Tywysog Cymru, the country whose title I've been so greatly privileged to bear during so much of my life and duty. With Catherine beside him, our new Prince and Princess of Wales will, I know, continue to inspire and lead our national conversations, helping to bring the marginal to the centre ground, where vital help can be given. I want also to express my love for Harry and Meghan as they continue to build their lives overseas.
King Charles ended his speech with a heartfelt tribute to his mother, thanking her for her devotion not only to the country, but so much more to the royal family as well. Wrapping up the Nightline, the United States, U.S. will be one of the major beneficiaries of Europe's Alternative Gas Initiative. This was proven via a purchase made by the Europe from the U.S., involving a total of 15 billion cubic meters of liquefied natural gas LNG to replace Russian gas. An Italian senior energy economic analyst, Demosthenes Floros, said purchasing energy from the U.S. raises the price significantly as compared to purchasing from Russia.
È stato un obiettivo raggiunto dagli americani, ma a quale prezzo? Un prezzo più costoso da un punto di vista economico per l'Europa è che il gas naturale liquefatto americano, per evidenti ragioni di rigassificazione, trasporto e ovviamente la necessità ancor prima di liquefarlo, è più costoso del gas naturale via tubo. I paesi che più guadagnano sono sicuramente gli Stati Uniti d'America.
In addition to higher costs, Floros said the search for alternatives to Russian pipeline gas would also set Italy back in its transition to green energy. The country has significantly increased imports of Russian coal and crude oil for power generation, while reducing imports of natural gas in the first half of 2022. However, with soaring energy prices and high inflation in European countries, continuous sanctions against Russia will lead to Italy going bankrupt.
e probabilmente renderci conto che le sanzioni sino a questo momento non hanno funzionato. A 6 mesi e oltre di distanza da quelle dichiarazioni abbiamo visto, che ci piace o meno, che la situazione non è così, l'economia russa non è in una situazione drammatica come aveva ipotizzato l'Occidente, ed anzi le sanzioni si stanno scaricando quasi interamente sull'Europa, in particolar modo sull'Italia, ma non sugli Stati Uniti d'America.
Now, he is a legendary musician, record producer from Singapore, and the frontman of the rock band Sweet Charity. Join Papa Rock Dato' Ramli Sarip, who will be talking about his newest album and tour in Sarawak, organized by Yayasan Kepimpinan Al-Bait, on Sejahtera Asia tomorrow with hosts Sharon Kezia and Juzak. 7:45 a.m. only on TVS Astro Channel 122 and My Freeview. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates, both locally and internationally, just a click away by heading on to our website at www.tvstv.my or by following us on our social media platforms. And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. Once again, I'm Muhammad Yusuf. Thank you for watching and good night.